It's Wednesday afternoon, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Sauga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and as well on Fridays on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. So glad that you were able to join us here on Sauga 960 AM and wherever you're listening right now, or whatever time you're listening. And as Colin Jost would say, hey, you know what? From Colin Jost of Pop Culture Jeopardy, if you want to go and listen to all of our other episodes, they're all up online on our Spotify and Google Podcasts and iHeartRadio, etc., Apple Podcasts as well. And you can listen to all of our content back to back, so you don't have to worry about losing out on any of the wrestling talk that we've had over the last almost 4 years here on the air on Sauga 960 AM. What? That's right. And that voice you just heard over here is our charity Twitch streamer and our podcaster for Godzilla at KinjiraCast, Colin Dodge. Colin, welcome back to the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, thank you very much. Glad to be back. Well, I was here last week, I'm pretty sure anyway, so glad to keep my attendance record going. Big Sunday this week. New episode, latest episode of KinjiraCast. Episode 3 will drop. I'm dropping episodes. I'm too old. Anyway, and also my first gaming stream returning for this year for my 2025 campaign with Extra Life. So we will be starting off with Final Fantasy 16. A game I forgot I got on sale months ago and go, oh, right. That's what's sitting there. Yeah, it's rare to get an actual physical disc game, so do it while you can, folks. Blu-rays are going bye-bye soon.
Oh yeah, that's actually kind of sad because I really like the Blu-ray medium. It was like DVD but on drugs, you know.
Good stuff. But yeah, so that's what I got going this Sunday, and of course, I'm here to talk about Grand Slam because it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm sure it was. It sounded like a great show, and what I caught from it seemed very, very entertaining to me. But we will talk about that in a sec, as after we introduce our collector, memorabilia expert, and his name is Chico. And his name, and you can follow him at Coco Collects. And I don't know why my brain started to fuzz out there for a second, but
that was weird. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I think it was like all the other nicknames I know of you, Father Ronnie Santos, and
no. Yeah, okay, too inside baseball. Nobody knows about any of that. Well, you didn't sound very confident there. You did not sound very confident there. But hey, I'm glad to be back. What happened to Lex, Colin?
I'm not sure. I think
did he get a lobotomy?
He's got his own personal glitches, like your internet glitches. It's the only thing I can think of. He needs a hard restart. Maybe go through the Geek Squad or something, get retooled. I don't know.
Right. I thought that was my internet and my operating system that I'm working with. Hopefully, I don't sound too robotic this week. Apologies for those who listen to our show, and if that ever made the cut, I apologize. But anyways. I'm here. Pretty big week in wrestling, I guess. I mean, we live in a world where a Jey Uso is challenging for a world title at WrestleMania this year. That's crazy.
And apparently, we've also got some different news stories coming up this week as well. We just found out because we are actually recording this on the Tuesday night. Ricky Starks is no longer Ricky Starks. His name is now Ricky Saints.
Sure.
Excuse me?
That was Steve Piccone.
Ricky what?
Ricky Saints.
Like plural?
Yes, Saints. Yes. Like Father Ronnie Santos, as you.
Again, nobody knows about that. So
now they do,
listeners. Good luck, listeners. Trying to find context that doesn't exist really out there.
Either way, Ricky Saints or Ricky Santos, but anyway, but yeah. So
breaking news, folks.
That's it. That exactly. So,
hey guys, you are you looking to get excluded in the context? Listen to Ringside Heat.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? Mitch Hedberg actually made a joke about that back in the day about
Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah. Look, for those of you who don't know Mitch Hedberg, look him up. He is unfortunately has left us nearly 20 years ago. But his comedy is quite funny even up to this day. So I
Okay.
suggest you give
Never
that a
listened.
listen to. Yes. But either ways, that was my that was my little news story of the week is Ricky Starks becoming Ricky Saints, and as well Moose making his NXT debut and getting in the face of Obafemi on last night's episode of NXT. But so what's one news story that you guys have for this week?
I mean, honestly, with Grand Slam, it's just everything, the aftermath that'll be coming out with Grand Slam. Yeah, Timeless Tony Storm making history, AEW's first 4-time AEW Women's World Championship. So that's I think the biggest story coming out of Grand Slam and AEW.
Well,
Nice.
it wasn't the biggest thing coming out of Grand Slam wasn't the ring size, from what I hear. I hear that there was a bit of a not a technical glitch, but I guess I don't know if they just didn't arrange for their AEW rings to fly across the Pacific, because the ring that they ended up using for the night, from what I hear, is not your standard 20 by 20 like WWE would be using, or whatever it is, 22 by 22.
20
They ended
by
up with
20.
a 20 by 20. Yeah, they ended up with a 16 by 16 ring for the event. Grand Slam.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Grand Slam tiny ring. So I mean, some
I
people
mean, it's
were
one of those
making-
controversies that isn't really a controversy, but yeah,
No, it's not
that's what
really. In
happened.
in the end, what does it matter, right?
It doesn't matter.
They ended up with a small ring, and some people were making a big deal out of a small thing. So
Well, you know, the internet.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
And to be fair as well, I mean, like a lot of indie promotions use a 16 by 16. So
Yeah.
so
Well,
so
also AEW. Okay, let's rewind here for a second before we go into anything else. How many years have they been in existence, Colin? Like as a
5.
public company?
This
5.
is
Okay,
the 5th year, yeah.
exactly. WWE's been doing this for over 70 years at this point. So,
Mhm.
man, I expect AEW to go through all sorts of growing pains. And yes, growing pains is a phrase that will be used forever in any company's history.
Yeah.
And this is still a period of growth and plenty of growing pains, especially right now, for AEW. So, I mean, to their defense, maybe they just couldn't export the ring that they usually would bring around. Plus, I'm hearing there are also specific things that customs don't let through. For instance, maybe some of AEW's ring supplies were made of a certain type of wood that they, let's say, would not allow in Australia or something like that. I hear there are little things like that from looking further into this ring story. I guess that's my one story of the week. Is kind of intriguing to me. They ended up with a much smaller ring than they usually would in North American major wrestling league standards. And again, sure, it probably came off looking a little small on TV, but really it wasn't a big deal. I heard it was an entertaining show. So there
I
you
didn't
go,
even honestly I didn't notice until I heard the kerfuffle, let's say,
Yeah.
on the online afterwards. I didn't even notice it. I don't care.
There you
It
go.
didn't matter.
There you go.
It was a
Just thought I'd bring that in,
fantastic.
so.
It was the most fantastic episode of Collision ever. So that's all
Yeah,
I
that's
have.
great. It was a Collision episode.
so that's Colin Dodge at Risen 72, Chico and Coco Lex. My name, Lextan, at Lextan Media is my handle. And of course, you can follow the show at ringside_heat on our social media platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see them on the bottom of our screen. YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, as well as Patreon. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of the shows over here that we watched last Saturday. Colin was able to watch the entirety of AEW Grand Slam Australia, aka glorified Collision, but the
7-star Collision. Yeah, I'll say that.
God.
the Saturday night time slot, the Saturday night time slot, and the small and the smaller ring did not dampen the spirits of these wrestlers and the fans that were in attendance, because apparently it was an amazing show, and particularly one match that I really enjoyed as well was the Mariah May and Tony Storm. But we're going to take it over to Colin so he can tell us more about the show.
Yeah, it started off super strong with the amazing super team of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega taking on Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. This was just a grudge match, and it was a super fun match. It ended with, Ospreay and Omega combining their finishers to get the win. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Mark Davis was there, who in the back off camera turned heel, I guess. Sloppy, we'll explain later kind of things a little bit sometimes that AEW does. I can only guess because, the large occurrence is back there, maybe running some things. It's just kind of that kind of stuff.
Large occurrence. Well.
That was a great, fun opening match. Also the longest match, but I mean, it was absolute mayhem for a while, so it made sense. They were all through the crowd and everything like that. It was a tag team match, but it happened everywhere.
Got a question for you regarding that match. Normally, of course, Ospreay and Omega have a history of being known as spot guys,
Yes.
But of course, I think they're two of the more highly regarded people who do the spots. But of course, both have had serious injuries and have had to work smarter, not harder necessarily the past few years. How is the balance of spots versus, psychology in the ring?
It was definitely there because you also have, they're definitely spot guys, but they're also smart wrestlers too. So that's the difference, right? Where they actually know how to wrestle and can calm it down. It helps. The idea, of course, of the tag team is getting Kenny back into a regular kind of, wrestling and all that kind of stuff instead of throwing him right into a full singles. So that was the idea. They worked really well together, and it was smart. There's definitely the spots because that's what the match was, but there was great exchanges and everything too, and there has to be when you've got guys like Takeshita and Fletcher, who's been amazing since his heel turn, properly getting the spotlight that he's getting. So all four of them were getting the best out of each other as well. So
did Fletcher get a hometown or a home country pop?
No, he's big bad evil guy. I mean, he's it's Kenny and Will are still the top ones. So nice. They still got the big thing. Because I mean, this is the super band, that kind of thing that would never happen, right? So these two teaming up, especially in the States anyway. So yeah. So no, it was good. It was a lot of fun. I think it could be argued with this next match that you could argue Harley Cameron kind of stole the show. She held her own against Mercedes. Mercedes retained, of course, but Harley Cameron did fantastic, and so did Minnie Monet.
I hear about the puppet.
And there was this great shot where, and go watch the match.
They were coming up.
They were coming up from the outside, from the apron, and just the look of fury and feel the wrath. I mean. She's really working the catchphrase, right? So it was a great match. Harley Cameron looked like $1 million. So hopefully she gets a nice rivalry out of this, not with just Mercedes, but a good program with somebody.
Before the next one, I would say I hope that this is not just one of those things that AEW often does, where it's one title shot and then you don't hear about her again, like for a good 6-7 months or something. Because I think Harley Cameron, they need to continue giving her, TV time.
To be honest with you, I don't think
throw her at somebody else to badger. It'll be great. It's easy. It's easy ratings.
But to tell you the truth, I don't think that's going to be a problem now for Harley Cameron, now that she's gone up against Mercedes and looked like $1 million alongside her, and then with showing up her Muppet skills as well. So and as we mentioned last week, she was on the Jericho cruise, entertaining the fans, singing and everything. So she's got something. She's got obviously people wanting to watch her and wanting to pay attention to her. I think it's. I think she's one of those people that's going to be too hard to ignore or push down the card or to forget about in AEW. So
one would hope.
Yeah, she's got the spotlight and she's running with it. So I hope she gets the chance to continue to do well. It was a great match. Next up, the Brisbane Brawl, which just means John Moxley's in this match. And so it was the Death Riders versus Cope. Yeah, I can't. No, it's Edge.
No.
His name is Edge. Yeah.
Yep.
Edge and Jay White. Jay White was there. Sure, why not? And maybe FTR didn't want to travel. I'm not sure. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was great. It wasn't the gore fest that you would assume. But yeah, basically the Death Riders left Edge battered in the ring, setting up, of course, for Revolution, because we now know for sure it is Moxley versus Edge, Adam Copeland, for the title. I'm just going to make a bold prediction for Revolution right now. What's going to happen with the TNT title is going to happen at Revolution. Edge is going to win, and Christian's going to cash in.
Oh,
Is that
yeah,
the
that'd be
TNT title?
fun. That'd be fun to watch.
I would love that they would do that, because he's got
You mean the
his
world
contract. Yeah, the world title. He's got his contract. He did the same thing to Edge before, and yeah. So
well, I mean,
that's what
Christian Cage is your reigning, defending, future AEW champion, as he says. So,
well, I mean, yeah, he's the patriarch, so you got to give him his due for sure.
yeah, I would love to see that. Cope and Christian Cage, like top of the card kind of feud. I still don't know what they're doing with this Death Riders thing with the title,
I'm not sure either.
Briefcase.
I'm worried they're stalling. It's stalling out a little bit, and so I figure if you're gonna pull the plug, then do something insane and have Christian cash in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. It's just then that would really make all the Death Rider stuff kind of just moot. I mean,
him losing the belt at all, I think, kind of makes it moot. So, but if that's the call, then scorch earth, right?
Yeah, I am hearing that it hasn't really hit, and I think even AEW fans are wondering or scratching their heads, wondering what's going on here. I mean, it's been going on long enough where there should have been some sort of storyline progression with that, and God bless John Moxley for trying to innovate a few things in AEW, but where's this going?
Well, that's the thing. It's the only slow burn storyline in a whole company of not slow burn storylines. So I think that's the one thing, the biggest hurdle against it. I'm down for it. I love a slow burn. So I know exactly, or I think I know exactly what he's going for, or at least what I'm getting from it is highly entertaining to me. Okay. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to give it the time that they were hoping for. Mm-hmm. So, yes, Buddy Matthews versus Okada for the AEW Continental Championship. Oh, AEW, we're the best. Roll their ankles. Poor Buddy.
I heard about that. Getting into the ring.
Yeah, he was just stepping down from the top rope after he entered the ring during his entrance, and a bit of a roll. So yeah, I think it'll be fine though. I mean, he finished the match fine, so they didn't have to end the match early. It went 13 minutes. But yeah, Buddy Matthews
did the whole match. The whole match with the rolled ankle.
With the rolled ankle.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a pro for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he looked great against Okada. It was a great match. They had great wrestling spots, great comedy spots, flipping the bird back and forth, all that kind of thing. It was fun, but it was a good match too. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if Okada's going to keep that belt past Revolution, but we'll see. Because if I'm not mistaken, he's facing Kenny. No.
We don't even know.
I'm not even sure yet. No, that's right. Kenny's going after Takeshita. Never mind.
Well,
so
Okada gave Okada gave a backstage interview right after the match, commending Buddy Matthews and recognizing that he's a great competitor, but he's still a insert female dog equivalent word here.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so Okada still with the comedy chops backstage, and funny dude, that guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this last match, of course, probably the best match. Yeah, I mean, definitely the best match. You could say maybe the one other slow burn story that maybe we didn't realize it was slow burning. Yeah, this is the other one that worked, that everybody was dialed in from the get and never faltered. Even Luther returned. But
nice.
Timeless Tony Storm defeated Mariah May via pinfall, clean pinfall, of course. Actually, not even that. It wasn't pinfall. It was a pinfall, but it was a roll-up. Nobody can defeat the roll-up. The greatest wrestling move in all of history is the roll-up. So it was the nice, upsetting Mariah May seeming more and more desperate as the match went on. She played it beautifully. And 15 minutes. The only thing wrong with this match is they could have gone a half hour, an hour. I think it would have been even better, of course. But giving them more time maybe. But again, it was Collision. But
that's the thing though about the way that Mariah May and Toni Storm have been able to carry the story and continue it, we didn't even as you said, we didn't realize it was a slow burn story until now, and that is the way you start to. That's the way you do. You book long term and you slow burn a feud and everything because I love their work. I love the work that they did in this match, and it's not just their in ring stuff, but then just the way they culminated the story and the way they made it all come together at the very end of this. So, kudos to those two for headlining a great match.
Yeah. So again, and another good, I know it was Collision, not a pay-per-view, but I was about to say, the mark of a good pay-per-view is it makes you very interested to see the next night of TV. So, I'm very interested to see Dynamite this week, to see what all of the fallout is, aside from the announced matches for Revolution that we already have. But yeah, it was great. It was definitely the best Collision episode ever.
That's right, and you can catch AEW Dynamite on. You got to check your local listings, but that's going to be at 8:00 later on tonight. But what we're going to do here is we are going to take a short break with Colin and Chico and Lex on Ringside Heat. We'll be back when we're going to talk about the other Saturday night show that happened on Netflix, NXT Vengeance Day 2025, and I just And I do want to give my virtual flowers to a bunch of the competitors on NXT Vengeance Day from last Saturday. So we're going to do that after we come back with these promotional considerations.
Under all the lights, with only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
Welcome back to Ringside Heat on Newstalk Sauga 960 AM. Lex Tan at Lex Tan Media, Ringside Heat at Ringside_Heat, alongside Colin Dodge at Risen72 and at KenjiraCast, as well Chico Nougat at Coco Collects, and we are going to be talking about WWE NXT Vengeance Day from last Saturday, and these are the results of the 6 matches. Stephanie Vaquer defeating Fallon Henley to gain the NXT Women's North American Championship. Nathan Fraser and Axiom defeat Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Eddie Thorpe defeating Trick Williams in a strap match. Ethan Page defeating Javon Evans, and Obafemi overcoming Austin Theory and Grayson Waller in a triple threat match for the NXT Championship. Obafemi retains, and which is cool because yesterday night on NXT, it was the debut of Moose on NXT television, going up and getting in Obafemi's face as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I do believe in his dancing, and so does Joe Henry. So so let's see if Obafemi will as well. Julia in the main event defeated Bayley, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade in a fatal four-way match for the NXT Women's Championship. Easy for me to say. But first thing I want to say about this is that the women's matches were the longest matches of the night. Stephanie Vaquer versus Fallon Henley went 15 minutes and 1 second. Julia, Bayley, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, they went 18 minutes and 31 seconds. And no disrespect to any of the men on the card here today, and especially or that day, especially with the triple threat match with Obafemi, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller, but I totally believe that the women stole the show here, for this on this particular card. Particularly that match between Julia, Bayley, Roxy, and Cora was just off the charts good. Really, such great action between these four. They all know how to throw down in the ring, and a lot of good things are going to happen between all four of these. Because first of all, Bayley, number one, elevated
legend.
Elevated Julia, elevated Roxy, elevated Cora. Roxy, by not winning that, was able to go on a Monday Night Raw the next day and qualify for the Elimination Chamber match. So we're getting Roxanne Perez in an Elimination Chamber in Toronto. Woo! Okay, that's awesome.
Now, will we be able to see her from our seats?
That's a great question. But you
Bring
know,
your binoculars.
exactly.
I will definitely. I keep forgetting to bring those. I was supposed
Do
to.
you have like the little
Colin.
opera ones, or do you have
No,
like
so
the big
no,
hunter
Colin,
ones?
Colin.
Yeah.
Before I left to go to Pennsylvania for, you don't
Uh-oh.
understand. I bought like two different pairs of binoculars.
Okay, yeah.
Or one was like a one was like a monocular, just a like one,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
One was
Telescope.
an actual
telescope.
binocular. One, yeah. So, kind of, but let's look at like a little handy
A
one.
little one, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they were both like more than your exclusive, like kitty one that you get from the dollar store or whatever. They actually like they had dials where you could really zoom in really far, and they work really
Okay.
well. The thing is, I forgot to bring them on either night of WrestleMania.
Oh, dude.
Like they just didn't
Come
make
on.
their way into my go bag for the arena or the
Right.
stadium. So, I mean, I had them in my luggage like when we drove down from Toronto, but it just didn't make its way into my
Gotta make a
my
checklist.
event bag.
Yeah.
I know. I totally forgot. Now, mind you, I was just soaking in the feel of WrestleMania, so that's more than personally. But I mean, this time since we're in the Rogers Center, not quite as big as it's pretty big. So I mean, and we're in the nosebleeds, and those cost over $200. So I will bring a monocular or binocular, whatever I can rustle up, and hopefully that'll help a little bit with the experience. Besides the Trons that they're gonna have for sure.
Well, you'll plan to. Yeah.
I'll plan to, and then it won't happen. So we'll have the same problem. Now, in terms of the Vengeance Day stuff, man, I didn't get to watch most of it, or I was kind of busy doing others. But I gotta say, like, kudos to Shawn Michaels and Triple H for just, combining those 4 women in the main event. That's amazing.
Oh,
And
for sure.
to your point, Lex, I think that the women's division in NXT is one of the strongest in all of professional wrestling right now. There's no doubt in my mind that it's one of, if not the strongest division. You got all the indie darlings, all the people they're putting through their developmental system, WWE style. Fresh athletes that have gone through the system. There's plenty of talent there. Even the people that we haven't mentioned, like Toronto's Carmen Petrovich, beautiful woman, and she's got, increasingly good chops. Kalani Jordan, former women's North American champion, will definitely grow in her promo skills, but she got it. There's just so many. And you mentioned, of course, the 4 that were in the main event. Of those, the NXT talents would be, of course, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and the champ Julia. And that alone is crazy. And then you add the legend Bailey in there. So, people, one person went over, one person got the victory, but a lot of people also, sort of gained more stock and more participate in the match. You don't have to win a match to get over.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
As the adage goes in professional wrestling, one person goes over, the other person gets over, and so
Yep.
or something or whatever.
Yeah. No,
whatever
you
that
got it
is.
right.
Yeah, that was right.
There's the one person goes over, one person gets over on a one-on-one match. But yeah, I mean, great move to use Bailey in this capacity, and I really feel like it's such a great thing for them to be able to transition to the main roster like this.
And that's you bugged out for a second. So you're saying Roxanne Perez? Am I correct?
Yes, Roxanne Perez
Yeah.
being able to transition to the main roster like this, I think it's going pretty well so far. And she's going to be a fixture on that main roster for years and years.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know what? I personally thought that Roxy was ready for the main roster at least a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. But all good things come to those who wait. And obviously, Roxanne still is very, biologically young. Even though that even though that she's been wrestling for how long now? Almost 6 years. And she was like 15,
13,
16 years old, something like that. Yeah.
Early.
The
So
10-year overnight success, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
kind of like the way that Saraya was,
Yeah.
wrestling since that early
Yeah,
age, and
tender age kind of start. Yeah, no, Roxanne's gonna be amazing. I'm glad though that they didn't bring her because she's one of those talents that's so special that I don't want them to rush her up if they don't have anything feasible for her.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And you were-
very
and-
important.
And you were referring to Cora Jade because you bugged out again when you were saying her name.
Oh yeah, no. It was mainly Roxanne Perez. But Cora Jade is now it's now her turn, I feel, to get the top girl spotlight in NXT. So it's good that she's got exposure there, and so I think it's going real well for Roxy and Cora Jade respectively.
And I
And I
also
don't know if
think
you were,
that
yeah, go ahead.
And I also think that maybe Roxy did stay around in NXT, maybe not by her own volition, but maybe she was there this whole time to help elevate Cora because the work that they've done together as the best as best friends, and then of course now Cora turning on Roxanne because there's something bigger involved, the NXT Women's Championship. So they've had such good, as I was saying to Colin during the break, they've had such good chemistry together.
Yes.
Off the outside of the ring with their with their promos, especially the whole, as I mentioned last week, I just kicked Stan and or I just kicked Stone rather, and they're very serious about their own friendship and their relationship, but then the way they play it together, that's exactly the way you want to play comedy. You believe exactly that everything you're doing is serious, and then you just let the natural comedy come out, the natural humor come from that, and the entertainment factor. So Roxy and Jade have done some really good stuff. I think Roxy, now that I think Jade is at a certain level, now I think it's the time for Roxy to transition and let Jade be on her own, as you were saying.
Sounds like Roxy was too good to promote, so they had to keep her back to help out a bit more.
Yeah, no, and that's just it. It's what I'm saying. I'm glad they didn't rush her up, because I agree she was ready a year ago. But if they had nothing for her on the main roster, she would have ended up like Karrion Kross or somebody where it's just.
Aleister Black fell flat when he got called up. I remember that.
Yeah,
when he first got called up from NXT, and he was the amazing talent that he is, and he fell flat in that initially.
Yeah, so a bit of patience has done them well, and I think now is a pretty good time to actually bring up Roxanne, whether it's fully main roster, starting with the Chamber event or maybe after Mania. It's gonna be soon. I can feel it now. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're still going here, but I think the other women's match on the card was also really good.
Oh yeah.
I will say I'm a little surprised they took the title off of Fallon Henley, the Women's North American Championship, like kind of quickly. But at the same time, Stephanie Victoria is like, what? So yeah, I think Stephanie had to be the victor in that one, and she did it well. Mind you, I was commenting this, I think, on our chat, but Stephanie and Fallon have really good in-ring chemistry. So this probably is not going to be the last time those two are going to have a few. It's not to revisit.
And then add Julia Julia and Jordan Grace into the mix as well. Between these four, I think these ladies have such an amazing trajectory for what's going to be happening in the next few months, going toward WrestleMania and after WrestleMania. But right now we're going to have to take our second break here, and when we come back, we've got the Elimination Chamber card as it is so far, and a couple of things that Michael Cole said on the Logan Paul podcast, Impaulsive. We'll be back after these commercials. Promotional considerations, whatever you like to call them, because I like to call them promotional considerations myself. Anyway, talk to you soon.
Under all the lights, with only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM Lextan at Lextan Media. Colin Dodge at Risen72 and at KanjiraCast, Chico Nougat at Coco Collects, and you can follow us as well at Ringside_Heat, which we will be live streaming all of our most of the pay-per-views and PLEs for this year. Next one coming up is going to be the Elimination Chamber PLE, which Colin will be hosting, and he'll probably be hosting it alone because Colin or because Jose is going to be at the show. I'm going to be at the show. Chico's going to be at the show over at the Sky Dome / Rogers Center, whatever your nomenclature may be. And that's going to be a lot of fun because the card has so far has been set with at least the chamber matches. All 6 participants for the women's match and the men's match have been set right now, and there's also a an unsanctioned match. That's right, an unsanctioned match that Adam Pearce.
You mean a lights out match?
Yeah.
Oh, easy there, Mountain Dew.
Oh, hey. I don't know what that means. Sure. Yeah.
I have no clue what Mountain Dew is either. So, or what
Lights out, LA Knight and Bray Wyatt.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's right.
Chico remembers the things that we probably forgot. So we did.
You said lights out. That's what I thought of, man. That's what I thought of.
Yeah.
Lights out.
Well done, sir. All right.
Yes,
he's
sir.
back. We can hear him and he's back.
And throwing it back.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. That's the match. So let's look at the match card here for Elimination Chamber coming up.
We'll be doing Revolution as well the following week. So
that's right. That's right. We are, and that's going to be on March the 9th, not the March the 8th. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Apparently you said Colin, you said you were looking it up earlier and you said Google was wrong.
Google got it wrong. And so of course I went to allelitewrestling.com to get the correct time. March 9th.
That's right. When in doubt, go to the actual source.
Yeah, right.
Do your fact checking, people.
Look, there's no place for facts on the internet, okay? I just go to whatever AI tells me to go to, all right? So,
Artificial intelligence.
Anyway, let's get back to our internet show that's us on the radio.
Speaking of artificial intelligence, Chico might be bugging out every now and then, so we'll see if we can anticipate that. But the men's Elimination Chamber match has been set. Cena, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, Seth freaking Rollins.
He's in it? Oh, well.
Yeah. Women's match, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, which is interesting because Alexa Bliss apparently it was revealed this week that it was supposed to be Shotzi in her place, but because Alexa came back, they replaced Shotzi last minute.
Oh.
You mean at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, the Royal Rumble. Yes, the Royal Rumble. That's what I meant. Bayley, Naomi, and of course, as we mentioned earlier, Roxanne Perez, NXT call-up to the Elimination Chamber match. Obviously, she's likely not going to be taking that match, but hey, you know what? The fact that she's there already amongst 5 of the top tier stars, plus one of the 4 horsewomen. Jeez, I mean, come on. Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus up against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae in a match that kind of blurs the lines between the faces and the heels at the moment. But sure, okay. But that's going to be awesome too. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in an unsanctioned match as well is going to be on the card, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, if they go to the crowd, they're only going to be sticking to the 100 level and not going up to the 500s where we're going to be, Chico.
Hey, wouldn't that be fun though if they did a fall thing and went all the way up to
I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun there as Chico's bugging out, but yes, it is going to be a lot of fun if they finally make it up there to 500 level. Can
you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, for whatever reason I can hear you now.
Oh, that's so weird. Yeah, no, I think it would be so much fun if they took it all the way up to the nosebleeds, man. That would be new.
And Edge is the only insane Canadian to jump from that height, so I think these two want to keep their career.
not to jump from that height. My goodness.
Now he did do a jump on Grand Slam, but not nearly as bad. But I was watching just to see if that tibia would go snap again. But
boy.
Hey man, you make silly choices, I'm gonna make fun of you. That's what happens.
That's true. What's that? FAFO becomes SCIF, silly choice. I laugh or IL. There you go. F. I don't know where that came from. Anyway,
I don't know where that came from and where that was going. So the unsanctioned match, we've had so many of those in pro wrestling.
Of course.
I think there should not even be a ref. It's not a sanctioned match.
Yeah.
Well, who's gonna count the 3?
That's right.
Okay, well, that's the only thing I guess a ref would be there for. But there shouldn't be
The cameraman.
No, it's just, when it's framed as a match, but then they call it unsanctioned, it just kind of, it doesn't make sense to me.
Just go old school and call it no holds barred or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But they've already labeled it an unsanctioned match.
Oh no, I know it's too late now for this time. Yeah, but just saying in general.
And Sami Zayn can just brawl until neither of them can get up. Yeah. I think that would still be great. And
yeah, we've seen this match 100 times anyway. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
I
think they can even ride this all the way to WrestleMania again. But then I don't think they've ever faced one-on-one at Mania.
No.
So I think that's possibly where we could be heading. But really, ultimately, let's be real. This is where Randy Orton comes back to set up a WrestleMania match with KO. That's my prediction for the match.
Oh, I like that.
I think that maybe Randy costs KO the victory in this unsanctioned match. I'm using air quotes for those who are listening on the radio, because unsanctioned should just mean no rules and no like real framework for it. Like we're just letting you have this airtime, but we're not gonna surround it with all the normal stuff. Whenever they use the term unsanctioned, it always feels very sanctioned.
Yeah.
So it
actually would have been better at Last Man Standing. Do that.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah. Anyway,
that would have made more
you
sense.
Guys thoughts?
See, within kayfabe, it's going to be unsanctioned. It's unsanctioned. In real life, or in shoot, it's probably just going to be like, hey, you know what? We can make money. we can make money with these guys.
Yeah, no, I just I'm begging WWE just to try something different with that label. Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
Try a little harder to make it more precise as to what's going on with the story. So just. Unsanctioned. It was just it was at the end of the meeting. What are we going to call this? Unsanctioned. Great.
I don't know. Like put in the Raw Underground ring with no ropes backstage, and that's where they have it or something. I don't know.
Bring back Brawl for It All. Yes.
I think.
Or
don't quote me on this, but I thought I saw something online earlier about that they're gonna actually have that as a feature in WWE 2K25.
What, the parking lot brawl?
Match?
No. The Raw Underground, no rings. Well, it's obviously in an arena, but no ropes around the rings or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
of course. I mean, they did it on NXT recently again, so they do have that around in the company. So it makes sense to me that it's in the video game.
Mm-hmm. And that's
so how would you book this unsanctioned match, guys? You know what I mean, though? Like, I don't like labeling it that, and then you have the ref, and then he's calling for rope breaks or whatever,
Yeah.
Well, the ref won't call for rope breaks anyway.
What's the special thing that's going to happen that justifies it being an unsanctioned match, right? So yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I really like Randy Orton showing up. It's just
I'm gonna love the match.
Yeah, and so am I. It's just. It's almost like these two are each other's ceiling. Like, we know it's going to be amazing. They're going to do great. But then that ends up excluding them from anything else that maybe they could go further with, because we've seen this match so many times. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm kind of like, I know it's going to be great. I know I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm like, really? You can't give these two anything else? I mean... Like belts,
just call it Falls Count Anywhere, and I'm instantly feeling better about it.
Last Man Standing, Falls Count Anywhere. Yeah, some kind of insane, still hardcore stipulation, but Yeah, the unsanctioned just means they don't even know yet, and it's to be determined.
Yeah, aka bloodline rules.
Yeah, pretty much. Or it's
AKA
like
we can't call it a death match because investors.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh,
yeah, it just
okay.
means they didn't write the finish yet. That's all.
Well, as long as they don't call it an exploding barbed wire death match, because we all know not all of those turn out well.
It didn't turn out
Come
well,
on.
but man, they saved it. Mox and
No,
Kingston
they
with
did
promos.
not.
With promos, they saved it
No,
after the
they
fact
did not
because
save
they
it.
made
Not
fun
that
of
night.
it. They made fun of
Oh,
it and they saved
okay.
it. Yes, you have to actually
Ah.
watch and you'll see. But you didn't. So.
No, you're right. I remember them saving it with promos, but it was just laughing stock kind of.
Of course
Like,
it was.
they
it was
admitted
as
that it
bad
did
as
not
the
work.
golf cart from Jericho for sure. Yeah, but I mean, it happens. Not everything works all the time.
So I
But
don't know.
what did work though during that era was the orange, Orange
Yeah.
Cassidy Jericho Mimosa match. So
Yes, love that. I love that
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, it's the dangers of working with props. That's all.
Pro wrestling. Yeah. Anyway, so enough of a rant about the unsanctioned thing. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I really think Randy Orton's coming back to set up Mania versus KO.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, the hometown pop for Trish will add to Tiffy's face push that they're kind of trying to go on. I don't know if they're certain how they're gonna get there yet because Tiffy's still talking like a snob. She's still kind of trying to find that balance between staying true to her character and being a babyface.
Yeah.
I think
They're still getting there.
Well, I think she should just do what Bret Hart's been doing is that, like, instead of snobbing off the crowd, then snob off at somebody else the crowd doesn't like. So,
Yeah, only be snobby to the
Okay.
other wrestlers and not the audience.
yeah.
And then that works. That works. Yeah, it's just like I think Tiffy, being as young as she is in the business, is still trying to find her groove. I feel like
She's at the beginning still. So
yeah, no, because
Yeah.
to me, as much as this Tiffany versus Charlotte thing is going to be fantastic and the road there is going to be good, it started a little awkward for me.
Yeah.
So of course it's just the beginning, like we've been saying. I just want to see how they're going to get there, and it's interesting that they're adding Trish to the build up here to try and add to that and see where that goes. So is it Trish and Tiff versus? Was it Liv and Raquel or no?
No, it's Nia Jax and Candice LeRae.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, obviously the good guys, quote unquote, are gonna go over. I'm pretty sure it'd be kind of useless otherwise.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's Trish. That like I'm sure Trish can put anybody over, but considering the rest of the card, I think it would be good to have Trish Stratus go over in her hometown and everything, because we've already got Sammy and Kevin from Montreal, and we're going to be cheering no matter what for either of them. So
That's true. So men's chamber, I'm gonna say Cena.
that's the likely thing.
I don't really necessarily see any they're winning, except there are viable options in Roman. I don't think Punk would, because he has that favor hanging, so they got to use that in story. Seth is just gonna keep losing like a loser. Damian Priest
that loses. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Damian Priest, not my favorite. I really don't think he's anything other than a placeholder in this match.
I think it's going to be him and Jacob at Mania.
There you go. So let's start that up. Priest and Drew, as the rumor was a few weeks ago. So maybe that'll start within the chamber too. That's a possibility. Logan Paul, let's just forget about that. That's not happening. Now, here's the interesting thing. Who eliminated CM Punk out of the Royal Rumble?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'll tell you, it's Logan Paul.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay, that's right.
So I don't know if Punk will get any main event at Mania this year either. The match. I don't like saying it, Colin. Okay, I don't like saying that. However,
why would they saddle anybody on the roster with this guy? It's
because it's money, man. I don't understand.
It's money,
media,
and he actually can wrestle. I'm sorry to say,
I know that,
leads
but
me to say that he
care.
can actually wrestle, and he's actually got a character that people want to boo.
Yeah, he's now for me. It's go
I
away
understand all of
but-
that, but it's what I feel though. I'm not going to be convinced otherwise, right?
Well, yeah,
Oh no, for sure. I'm not trying to convince you or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
It's just-
but
I
that
feel
is
it's
the
a
reason
shame
why.
anybody
That is
gets
the reason
saddled
why.
with him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I know it's the reason. That's why I stopped watching for years.
Well, you know what? Actually, we've come to the end of our radio time over here, but I would like to continue the conversation on the podcast version, which will be dropping at 3:00 p.m. and will be available on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, as well as iHeartRadio. And you can see the YouTube version of this as well on Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. But thank you to Colin at Risen72. Thank you to Chico at Coco Collects, and as well to all of you for tuning in and listening here on Sauga 960 AM. I'm Lex Tan at Lex Tan Media. Follow the show at Ringside_Heat, and we remember the things that you probably forgot. And for those of you who are still with us after the radio show is finished, we're on the podcast right now. Ringside Heat on Sauga 960 AM, but on Spotify, on again Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. Alongside Colin Dodge at Risen72, Chico at Coco Collects, myself at Lextan Media, and
Hello
far.
again.
Hello again. Exactly. And I think Chico's internet connection is working out for now. So we're gonna get into this over here. We were talking about Logan Paul earlier,
Rolling up the sleeves. All right,
as the
Men's
radio show
chamber
went
match,
to an
let's
end.
be real here.
So as part of the men's chamber match. So so if you guys have any other thoughts about that, then we can then you guys can air that out. But I also want to talk a little bit about Michael Cole being on Impaulsive earlier this week. So, but first, you guys finish off your thoughts from the end of the show.
The chamber match, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I with the participants in there, it's interesting that Logan Paul and CM Punk are both in it. I don't like admitting that it's a possibility, but at the same time, Punk likes money and so does Logan Paul, and they would be printing money if they put those two together in a WrestleMania capacity. I don't have to like it, just like you, Colin. I don't have to like it. However, and talk about business, it wouldn't be a terrible business decision for them. I don't understand social media in the ways that Logan Paul's included in it, so I don't really care that much. Now, would I want Logan Paul versus CM Punk at WrestleMania? Absolutely not. I would rather Punk face, I don't know, Roman and Seth. I like that triple threat idea. If there was going to be any three that would be a triple threat at WrestleMania, it could possibly be a show closer for one of the nights.
Or
That's
put him
a
in with
combination.
Cena and Cody.
I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind the favor being to join that match. I still think that it's going to be Cena passing the torch to Cody somehow as WWE Championship, or he could beat Cody, which would be kind of different. And he could just, I don't know, circle back to Cody and lose it to him months later. I don't know.
And
you
Cody
know what?
turns heel, not Cena. Yeah.
But at the same time, as much as I don't think that Cena should go over at WrestleMania, I mean, it is also, if he does face off against Cody as a result of winning the chamber match, then that would be his 17th. That would be the record-setting moment. And if there's anybody in the company, there's any wrestler that actually quote unquote deserves that,
right?
it would be
Earned
John
it, or-
Cena. It would be John Cena. I don't know if he said. I don't. Okay, deserve may not be the proper word for it. Earned. If there's anybody who earned that honor, it's John Cena.
If not him, then who? Right? And it's not like he leaves right after Mania. He's here the whole year. So there is plenty of time to then still pass the torch to somebody else.
And he's also going he's also going to be on he announced that he is going to be on every Raw after or
in March, right?
Yeah, every Raw in March after Elimination Chamber is done for the European tour. So it basically is his goodbye to Europe, basically. And so he's in this. He's in this for he's in it to win it, basically.
Well, I mean,
believe
Chamber is
that.
probably his last Toronto date, right? So
It is.
Yep.
Like he announced that. He announced that it's going to be his last time in Toronto.
there you go.
Yeah.
So
but I still think Cena takes Chamber. I mean,
Yeah.
there are other possibilities that are wild, but I really think it's just going to be Cena. The biggest question mark to me before we go back to the Logan Paul podcast later, I think, is the women's chamber match, because that will determine who faces Rhea Ripley. So it's a
Yes.
matter of thinking which one of those women would look good opposite Rhea Ripley on a stage like WrestleMania.
who are the ones in the women's match?
Run it
again,
down.
sir?
Run it down again, Mr.
So
Tanner.
it is going to
Yeah.
be Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bailey, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. So a process of elimination, not Roxanne Perez.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure she would throw down and be amazing against Charlotte. It's just that she's,
No,
it's
you
too
mean,
early. It's
you
too
mean
early
Rhea.
for that.
Against
too
Rhea.
early
No,
for
it's
that.
No, it would be against Rhea, and if you put the two of those,
Oh, sorry.
women
Yes.
opposite each other, it's not a great start for Roxanne, because it would kind of cut her off at the knees early in her main roster
Yeah.
career.
Because how did
There's
Rhea
no
not destroy
way.
her? So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes.
There's
True.
no way Rhea and Roxanne would work. So definitely not Roxanne. I think this would lead more into Roxanne versus Bailey, possibly at Mania.
Okay.
They have been building up to the two of them having tons of tension. So, which I wouldn't mind at all. Like that'd be a great, I don't know.
And then
a
Roxanne,
great thing.
and then Roxanne cosplaying as Bailey, as the Hugger Bailey as well too. So that's already that's already
we
like
can revisit
salt in the
that
wound.
time.
I would also say Naomi's probably not a possibility either against Rhea.
I think that actually I don't know, man. I think that they can put Bianca over here, because I think Bianca's been sitting on the tag team division for quite a while now, and Bianca is top talent stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they're there yet. I know they still have to do the whole Jade Cargill who beat her up backstage. Like they haven't revealed it yet. Probably Rikishi, but like
Detective Aldous. Yeah.
Rikishi did it
I
for The
did
Rock.
it.
He did it for The Rock, of course. I mean, he did it for the Saints. And
Yes,
so,
not Ricky Saints. So I mean, you know what I mean, though. I think Bianca Belair is somebody that I would want to win the Chamber, but I don't know, because her story's it's in the middle somewhere with the Jade stuff. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who to pick here. Who would you guys pick for the Women's Chamber?
I mean, just who's my favorite in that match is Alexa. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
Alexa Rhea would be amazing, but because Alexa just came back, there's no story. And I know there's a month and change to develop a story, but
Yeah, over a month before
over
Mania,
a month,
after that.
so that could be
57
a
days
thing.
away.
Yeah. It's and that's just going on because Alexa's my favorite of everybody in that match. But I mean, Liv also makes sense, of course, with
Again, though.
all the previous. But well, that's just the same thing. But I mean, hey, an Elimination Chamber, we're seeing Sammy and KO again too, right? So they're not afraid of repeat matches.
No, you're right. You're right. I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. I think that they've blown it off already, and I think they need to have versus Rhea. Be a thing, and just not my recommended course of action. Alexa for me, then also either Alexa or Bianca.
Or Bianca. Now, with those two, is there like a tag split on the horizon? Like how long have they been champs? Yeah,
there's got to be.
Okay,
the tag champs, you mean?
Yeah, so maybe this is the developing story in the Chamber then, where that kicks off, especially if Bianca wins.
Yeah, and that could end up having this feud between Bianca and Naomi. Now, let's say Bianca wins the Chamber, Naomi could end up costing Bianca the title against Rhea Ripley.
Right.
And that could jumpstart a feud.
That could. So there's possibilities there. And then it comes out of Mania still the champ. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would pick Bianca. Alexa. I don't know if I'd hotshot Alexa. Not that it would be hotshotting her, but yeah, she just came back. Like I feel like she needs more momentum.
Yeah, process
Seems
of
more
elimination
story potential with Bianca though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the process of elimination, it's probably going to be Bianca. So because as you said,
Okay.
Roxy versus Bailey at WrestleMania would be a fun story. Naomi, Liv Morgan already had her feud finish up, kind of, sort of, somewhat with Mommy. So that's the thing. And then Alexa might be too fast. It might be too fast for her to get back into the main event picture at this point. So it's got to it's got to be Bianca, because I don't see Naomi going to face for the title herself at this point.
So if it's not Liv, then what's the story that can be developed for her in the chamber to start a feud with somebody?
For Bianca?
No, for Liv. If Liv's not going to win, what's the story for Liv?
Okay,
Liv and Alexa maybe could do something, but I don't know what.
I was gonna say Liv eliminated Alexa from the Rumble, so there's a little bit of an in that they could make something out of.
Alexa takes out Liv. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see it yet, so I don't really know. Plus, for all we know, they could continue the tag team story between Liv and Raquel and Naomi and Bianca, so it might not even be Bianca. So there's several possibilities. To me, there's not like a strong standout.
No.
It'd be good,
which makes it interesting as well. That makes it a good match. Where unlike
makes it
we're 99.9% sure it's Cena, where with the women's match could be this, could be this. Most likely not this, but hey, So
and it's and that unpredictability is a good thing. That, like we've been saying it over the last few years. It's that the fact that, like, when we got to certain points in pay-per-views and PLEs and WWE and AEW, we did not know how to call it. There was no actual. We could not. We could not logically predict anything, because it was just so up in the air and how it was going to become. But so so this is going to be an interesting thing to pay attention to, especially
for sure.
Especially
and even during the match, even for a fraction of a second, like I'll go back to Grand Slam with Harley and Mercedes. For a fraction of a second, I thought, would they have Harley go over? No, but there was just that fraction of a second where the exchange going back and forth was that good, and Harley was getting the one up on Mercedes for that little bit. It's like you're thinking, could they? Would they? And then of course not. But
but that's how you know that they've done something right with Harley Cameron, is because now it's slightly believable that she could have pulled that out.
Yeah, so there's potential to do that now in this women's elimination chamber match between several of them, to go, wait a minute, maybe it could be Liv, maybe it could be Bianca, so
who knows?
But you know what? We'll find out. We're going to find out 2 Saturdays from now at the Elimination Chamber at Rogers Center, Skydome, for those of you of a certain vintage and nomenclature. Hey, I mean, like, heck, I still
love that word now, don't you?
Hey, thank you, Cody Rhodes, for increasing my lexicon. So.
Oh my goodness. He just had to say lexicon. He couldn't have said vocabulary.
That's right. When Cody Rhodes did that, it raised my lexicon to a different echelon. So anyway,
there you go. I was about to say it.
I was waiting for that.
You're gonna love it, Jose.
Echelon.
Jose's gonna love that quote. Anyway, but well,
we're here to teach Will Ospreay new words.
But here's where you're gonna white. I know where you're gonna white knuckle things, and over at your side, Colin, because we're gonna have to talk about the Impaulsive podcast, but but not Logan Paul. We're not talking necessarily about Logan Paul over here. We're talking about Michael Cole, and 27 now, almost 28-year-old veteran, 28-year veteran of the WWE.
Oh, I remember when he was the new guy. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly, and it's
man.
Yeah, and he's mentioned and he mentioned a whole bunch of things. I mean, like, I haven't gone through the full podcast yet, but the parts that I have gone through, there were 3 main points that I wanted to talk about here. First of all, one of the main points that did come to mind was that he's been the voice of WWE for at least 2 eras. And maybe 3
generations, like you said.
Yeah.
Spanning
Exactly.
two eras. Yep.
Attitude Era, he was on SmackDown with Taz as well, and during the Ruthless Aggression era, the quote unquote PG era, the Thunderdome era, and now the the PL
Netflix era.
the Netflix PLE era, Paul Levesque era of WWE. So he's
I see.
28 years in this business, and one of the things that he said before on a different show on a different podcast, I believe it actually was during a WWE interview as well, that he says that he is not a professional wrestling announcer. He is a narrator.
That's right.
Oh, I like that distinction. Okay.
Yes.
I really like that. Yes.
And yeah, exactly. And I thought that was I don't remember him saying before that he considers himself a narrator, rather, because I know he did say I'm not a professional wrestling announcer, and everything. And so at first when he said that, people construed it as like, oh, so he really is admitting he's just an actor or whatever like that. But no, he's actually narrating. He's actually the narrator of the story of WWE.
Yep.
And and it's very interesting the way that they do that, because it's like, as I was taught in radio school, when you'd never ever go around saying that you're an influencer. You just go and do your thing. You just go do the thing. You do the job that you have to that you're creating and build the business you're creating. And as a result, people will call you the influencer.
Yeah.
So yes, we are calling him as fans a professional wrestling announcer because that's what he is, but he considers himself a narrator. And that kind of reminds me of Samantha Irvin, not considering herself a ring announcer herself per se, or whatever like that, or not considering herself wanting to be a ring announcer, but being able to innovate that position so well and not even intending to even do that job.
Right.
Yeah. She said herself, I think in a Busted Open interview last week, that she wanted to kind of be part of the storytelling, and so she kind of took announcing as part of telling the story, which it is. You know, so I mean, she really she elevated the game, even though she had she couldn't care less about being that. Like, she didn't want to be that, but she ended up being it. So that's interesting how that worked out. You know, I still think that if she had a change of heart, it would be fantastic if she came. But of course, you don't want anyone to stick around at a job that kind of sucks their soul. So I mean, I feel for her in that way, but man, it'd be good for her to be back. But anyway, yeah, Michael Cole, great interview, I have to say. You know, I still don't like the human character of the host of that podcast, but it was a very enlightening chat about Michael and his place in all of this. And he did announce at that podcast that he's signed on for at least another 5 years. I don't know if it was 8. I can't remember what the exact number was, but he just re-signed with WWE, and he had a long talk with his wife about, you know, like what are they doing? Because his wife is 4 years older than him and recently retired. So she's living that life now. But the offer was made, obviously accepted, that WWE is gonna get him to retirement age. So and his wife was like, yeah, you gotta take the deal because this is your legacy.
Yeah.
You know, like this is the legacy of Michael Cole. And as much as and Lex knows this very well, I did not care for Michael Cole's announced work for years. He's still not my favorite of all time. I still think Jim Ross is the greatest. That's my opinion. But Michael Cole has cemented his place in the history of WWE as the voice of like 2 generations, like we were saying.
Yeah.
So he is definitely now, definitively right now, the voice of WWE. And he has earned that. We were talking about the word earned. He's earned his place in history as one of the greatest. And I'm glad that he stuck it out. And I'm glad that like Cole have other recent interviews like on McAfee's show, that he is now fully himself. Like when he's on the air, I'm glad that he now has that, and I'm glad he also said that he'll never take shots at Vince McMahon, because Vince did give Cole those opportunities.
Yeah.
So good on him for recognizing all that.
Well, it's just, and it could just be simply it's negativity that's not needed, right?
Yep.
And so it's just what's the point of bringing anything up? Just look forward to the task at hand, to what's coming up. So yeah, just being negative for the sake of being negative, there's no need for that, right? So it's a very healthy way to look at it, regardless of whatever that negativity might be. It's just, why be negative, and it's not going to serve any purpose. So
yeah, no, I'm glad that he's just being truthful about it, is what I'm saying. Like, he didn't have to ride the wave of negativity, and because that is the temptation. I mean, like, it's for PR to go a certain way, but at the same time, Cole recognizes, much like Undertaker does, that man gave opportunities.
And they wouldn't have the life that they have today, not just in their career, but their own personal life, if not for Vince McMahon taking a chance on them, giving them the opportunity to wrestle and to make them develop themselves as characters and as people. And that's the thing too, with and that's as complicated as the Vince McMahon situation is. It's one thing that I've always kind of one thing that I've always kind of respected about Vince McMahon is that and the WWE in the whole, and this is something that I believe that Tony Khan, in his heart of hearts, is trying to do for the wrestling industry and in AEW, is that he gives you, Vince McMahon gave the opportunity, the platform, he gave them the pyro, he gave them the airtime, he gave them the coaching, he gave them the etc., all the tools needed for success. It's up to the wrestler. It's up to the wrestler themselves to take those tools and create a success out of themselves. Yes, there are other factors like creative, not having anything, quote unquote, or whatever, right? But that's something that that any good wrestling promoter will allow you to do, is to give you the tools to succeed and give you the opportunity and make it up to you to succeed, because you succeed
or fail, up to you to succeed.
Exactly. You succeed, I make money. You succeed, we all make money. You fail, we don't make money, right?
Or you fail, at least you tried. I mean, like you can't say that you weren't given the opportunity, and that's what Vince gave to those guys. And the other thing too that stood out to me about what Cole said, referring to Vince, is that that Vince, no, it's not. This is not to defend his character or anything like that. This is not about that.
No, of course.
It's of business and building, the pro wrestling company, the WWE, into the juggernaut that it is. Vince didn't take things personal. He allowed for those opportunities to happen, even when, there had been shots across the bow. Couple of examples: Warrior. There were hurtful things said, both sides, mind you, but when the business opportunity was to do the right thing, honor Warrior for his contributions, they put aside the differences, they got on the same page, business was done, reconciliation. The other one that was, to me, one of the most earth-shattering things, I'm not even going to talk about Bret Hart here, is Eric Bischoff. That man purposely tried to put people out of business on the World Wrestling Federation side. There was purpose there. That was intent. And didn't take it personal. It was just business, and there was opportunity to make some magic, and there was for years. So anyway, that's part of what stood out to me too about what Cole said about Vince, and about some of those business decisions that proved to be good practices years ago. Anyway, yeah, it was a pretty good chat. Like, it was a good over an hour. A nice look at Michael Cole's career in WWE and his life with his wife Yoli, and how all she's ever known is him on the road anyway, so this hasn't been a strain. Like, they just have their routine worked out. Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice glimpse into Michael Cole and his whole existence right now.
And one of the things as well when it comes to this is that, as you mentioned earlier, that Cole is going to be signing for the next few years with WWE, and that's something that I called maybe about a year ago, that that Michael Cole was going to stick around and possibly go into 35 years in the WWE, and which is a possibility now, depending on how long he signed for. Because if he's going to be going up to age 65, that is going to be another how many 6 years still on the for him, maybe 5 or 6 years.
Right.
So that's
So then it was probably 8 years is probably what I heard. I could be wrong.
Years,
Yeah, I think 8 years.
And I credit that. I would like to credit that heart to come back, that heart to be able to sign this, not just to his wife, not just to his love for professional wrestling. And hell, I mean, like, one of my favorite things that he's ever said on the air was at WrestleMania 40, when he was recounting how he's known Cody Rhodes ever since he was a kid, and went through his entire life story within 30 seconds, and culminating at WrestleMania 40 with the championship in his hand. And he capped it off with saying, "Damn it, I love professional wrestling." Like he said that I cried when he said that. Like, I didn't cry at the arena for Cody Rhodes winning, but then watching it all back again when he said, "Damn it, I love professional wrestling," that's when the waterworks came. I was like, dang it. And that's the reason why. Or I believe that it was Corey Graves and Pat McAfee who re-inspired this energy in him to because, as you said, this is he himself now, after all these years of playing Michael Cole. This is not that, like, since beginning in 2012, when he dropped his character because Jerry Lawler nearly left us in Montreal. And now with Pat McAfee and Corey Graves and him and those guys having that influence and that energy with him all over again. Now we're seeing Michael Coulthard more than we saw Michael Cole back in the day, and to see that, Corey
I realized his first name is Sean too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, Sean Coulthard, Sean Michael Coulthard, or whatever his name is. Yes,
there can be only one Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, Sean Spears.
Oh,
hey,
we have him on the show. We've had
on the main roster. I mean, Sean Spears.
I mean, sorry. Finish your thought there, Mr. Tan.
Yes. Sean Michael Coulthard
more himself, right?
Yeah, more Sean Michael Coulthard. He's now more Sean Michael Coulthard than he is Michael Cole, and I think that's and I think that's awesome. And Corey Graves and Pat McAfee have that to have share in that honor and that restoration of his career, the revitalization and his call.
Hey, and I realized too that I'm remembering now that they also talked about Corey Graves and that situation.
Yeah.
On the Impaulsive podcast. So
exactly.
But only just enough to say that you're still figuring things out with each other.
Yeah, basically just on the same kind of level as not necessarily disparaging Vince. It's just that, things are happening. That's not his place that's not his place to say. But those things are happening, and I honestly wonder. I know Michael Cole's legacy toward myself and my influence in the way I call matches in the indies. But I'd like to also see what that. What his legacy will be in the overall professional wrestling industry eventually, when he does, when he does hang up the headset for the last time. So,
which won't be for a while, folks.
Thank God.
He's re-signed, so yeah, the coal miners rejoice.
Yes, exactly. And you know what?
The coal miner.
And you know what? We probably should have said this as well. But we probably should have said this as well on the radio side of it. But along with other longtime great announcers, Chris Cuthbert is the lead announcer for the Canadian broadcasts of the Four Nations Face Off. And by the time you hear this on the podcast, you may or may not may not have attained the gold medal over the United States. But again, Chris Cuthbert, he's in his 60s now, I believe, nearly 65. So maybe just a little bit older than Cole is. But he's still going strong. And Bob Cole, God rest his soul, went all the way into his 80s and still sounded amazing. Even though, yes, by the time he was in his 80s, he was starting to lose a step or two. But that's also Roger's thing too, that I think. And that's a whole nother issue for another day. But Cole, when Cole at the age of 58, he's still got a long way to go as long as his voice holds out.
For sure. Long live Michael Cole, guys.
Mm-hmm. And go Canada.
Yes, always.
Sorry, I heard hockey and I tuned out there for like a good 5 minutes. So I don't know.
How dare you?
Exactly.
How dare I, indeed.
At least you could lie this one time and just say, "Hey, go Canada."
Oh,
I don't care enough. There you go.
Go
play with your GoBots.
Ooh, I never actually watched that show.
GoBots or
GoBots.
Yeah, GoBots. Yeah, no, maybe.
I had one. I had one video of GoBots, and it was it was their 90-minute their 90-minute episode about like them them and the Rock Lords or something like that.
Oh,
Good time.
Yeah, but the voice cast had Margot Kidder, Telly Savalas, Roger McDowell.
Oh my goodness!
On GoBots?
Who loves you, baby?
For whatever reason, I don't know how. I don't know how, but
did she recite a poem while she was being flown around, or no? Again, get the Canadians in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. She's Canadian. I forgot.
Of course she is.
Yep. And apparently Peter Cullen and Frank Welker also worked on GoBots. The voice acting community was very small back in those days.
Yeah. In the 80s for sure,
yeah,
right?
The Welkers were in everything
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did he do? Right. Fred from Scooby-Doo. He was that was originally his character as well, and he's still doing it up to this day.
Yep.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And of course, and of course, Soundwave, Inspector Gadget. Yeah. Jeez, Frank Welker, awesome. Peter Cullen, awesome. Yeah. Anyway,
no, it's fantastic. Michael Cole is great.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, that's what we started with. That guy.
Yes,
that's right.
I think that's where we were.
Yeah, and honestly, I think my favorite pairing with him is probably him and McAfee. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, they're great together. I really like
their chemistry is just off the chart. And
and okay, there's the other thing I remembered. Good thing you brought that up. So apparently WWE is now kind of like carved out like two different types of announce teams.
Okay.
So it's you got Joe Tessitore being the professional sporty type guy, and you got Wade Barrett who can give you that classic heel commentator edge, right?
Right.
But now it's just Cole and McAfee. Like the way Cole put it was, they're just like two guys having a beer watching wrestling. Like,
yeah, they're just reacting as if they were sitting on the couch watching it together. Yeah.
And I didn't know this. And this is kudos to Pat McAfee and his like improvisation skills. But McAfee on purpose does not want to know what's going on before the show.
Oh, that's perfect. That makes it all so much genuine.
Like any one of us would, except it sounds like really great. So
it works, right? Yeah.
Cole and Pat, one of my favorite teams right now.
Yeah.
And
it's I think it's the best pairing for Cole for sure in his entire career. I'll say that.
But he's had okay, let's look back at that for like a second, I guess. He's had a lot of good ones, man. Even his first one that really clicked was Cole and Taz. And
Cole and I'm sorry, you bugged out. Cole and who?
Sorry, Cole and Taz were
Taz, yes.
The first pair that Cole was part of that I think really truly clicked and was like an original thing. So Cole and Taz was good. And then I mean, Cole and Graves are fantastic together too.
Very true. Yeah.
And then Cole and Pat, really, I think those three are his best.
And I think it explains that he's definitely like dropped all character. Not that he necessarily had a character against Graves, but I think the way Graves is, you kind of have to be everything that Graves isn't. So not that he exactly had a character, but he definitely had a specific role to be opposite somebody like Graves. But I think now where it's just, if it's just like two guys sitting on the couch watching this and we're just looking at them react, they just happen to be at the announce table that shamelessly will not break anymore. Then it's amazing how much that bothers me. I know of all the things, of all the hills I love to die on, the no longer breaking the announce table. It's sacrilege.
That thing looks sturdy as hell now, man. Like that's a crazy table.
I mean, it claimed JD, so they got to stop it.
Oh, they talked about JD in the interview too. So
yeah,
in the podcast, and apparently Cole and McAfee, or Cole at least, legit thought that JD on the spot. Like that's how hard it moved the table. Apparently,
yeah.
Like he thought that JD passed away in that moment, man.
Oh, well, let's say that table's claiming careers now, so it's more dangerous than it ever was. So
yeah, they should go back to the classic announce table. I mean, they still have it at NXT, but then like there are things that you don't need to change in WWE, and that is the malleability of that announce table.
Exactly. Or if you don't want to break that one anymore, then get the Spanish announce table back out there. We all know that's really what the Spanish announce table was for. You know, so it's just but anyway, I think exactly it's where it's no character at all, and it's just genuine reaction between those two, and that's where I put McAfee as his best pairing. But again, a close second, very close second, Graves. I would go for that.
It's part of that WWE embarrassment options, man.
Well, Graves is Graves was really the I mean, because he came before McAfee, that was at least I think the beginning of Cole's revitalization as an announcer. Because unfortunately, don't get me wrong, Jerry the King Lawler, one of the greatest, one of the greatest of all time, but maybe it was because of his heart condition, maybe because of what maybe his direction from somebody yelling at him in the headset or something like that he felt a little bit more muted after the events of 2012 in Montreal. So unfortunately, we didn't get we didn't get the kind of vibe that a King and Cole had back in the Attitude Era, when King was a little bit more freer to be Jerry the King Lawler.
That worked too, actually.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was, and it worked very well, I think, because JR and Jim Ross as well. They've called matches together during the Attitude Era. Obviously Cole was still learning the ropes of the industry, and JR was the guy that everybody loved and everybody wanted to listen to. But it also showed how far away from being great that Michael Cole was when he was paired up with JR.
I mean, that was also the height of the character of Michael Cole, and that's when I was like, all right, we got to get rid of Cole, like Coal Mine, like all that kind of stuff. We get enough heels and faces in the ring. I don't need it pushed this hard at the announce table with these two at that time, right? And it's just, let's bully JR some more kind of segment is all it turned into me, right? It turned into for me. And I'm like, just leave JR alone. Why does he have this now? It's like, come on. So that was the time where let's get rid of Cole. I don't care about Cole. But
so my last little Cole, and again,
we'll have to. I'll have to interrupt you there for now, Chico, because you're starting to bug out here.
Is it a lot? Am I bugging out a lot?
Now you are.
Now you're
back.
Okay. One last little bit for me about Michael Cole is credit goes to the guy who brought him in to WWE, Todd Pettingill.
Wow,
God.
Mr. In Your House,
King of In Your House. Yep.
If not for Todd Pettingill, we would not have gotten the current multi-generational voice of WWE, Michael Cole. There you go.
Let's talk about Todd. Let's do a tribute episode for Todd. No, all right.
He
I
was
think
part of my wrestling childhood. So.
I think I unfortunately I missed Todd Pettingill's time in WWF, so I think that'll be one for you and for you, Colin and Chico. So
well, you know what?
And
A favorite
John
announcers
Williams.
episode when we get all the boys together. That's a good one. Honest, if there's ever a slow news week again, yeah, we should talk our favorite announcers through the airs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also Doc Hendricks. Just kidding. Okay, go ahead.
Remember when he dressed like the Hardy Boys? Oh, good times.
What?
Because he managed the Hardy Boys.
Michael P.S. Hayes, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was Doc Hendricks.
Who the heck is Doc Hendricks?
Michael P.S. Hayes. Come on, Mr. 10.
Doc
Get
Hendricks.
up on
I
your
know
game.
Michael P.S. Hayes.
He would sell everything to us in the pay-per-view commercials.
Exactly.
In between
He would
matches.
be the guy with. Yeah, he would be the guy doing all the selling in between for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. He
Yep.
was there. In the back.
I remember I came in when The Rock was at his height.
Oh, you're as bad as Jose.
Yeah.
There it is. That's what we wanted to get to, I guess.
I will.
Yeah,
I will say, you know, to Jose and my credit, one of my favorite matches that I've ever heard Cole and Taz do is Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar, No Way Out, for the undisputed championship, and yeah, it was very, very interesting the way they did, because it was, I mean, not Todd Pettingill, Taz.
Whoa.
Taz and Cole were like, you know, were like, I equate them with the Marilyn Manson, The Beautiful People, set music of SmackDown, and as well
Big
the
hits.
whole.
Popping out of a cake? What? No, all right. That's the wrong Maryland.
The big fist SmackDown set.
And then there's that there's also that the distinction between JR and the King, who were like, you know, the Southerners, and brought that flavor to WWE Raw at the time, and then you had Michael Cole and Taz bringing the New York flavor to that.
Oh,
So
okay.
Quite different.
Yeah. And that was a little thing that made a distinction between Raw and SmackDown. But that match where Eddie Guerrero won that championship,
Beautiful match. Yeah.
Beautiful match, great commentary by Cole, and yes, maybe maybe Michael Cole was still, you know, quote unquote, green Michael Cole, but the heart that he had, he put all of his heart and soul in that match and that finish, and so did Taz, because Taz was even like, you know, was even like, Eddie, don't do it, don't win like this, don't Eddie, you cheated. And just like, you know, like he wanted, like it felt like Taz wanted Eddie to actually win the championship. Like if he didn't want Eddie to win the championship, but if he did win the championship, he wanted to do it clean and not cheat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whenever Michael Cole goes into the Hall of Fame years down the line, I really hope to see Taz there. I mean, it's not the strongest like wish of mine, but I hope cool. that Taz shows up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at that point, then like, then you'll see like Hook for the first time on WWE television.
No, absolutely not.
He's gonna be. He'll go with his dad. I'm sure Hook will go with his dad to the Hall of Fame.
To a Hall of Fame? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, probably backstage, but I don't think they would show it on camera.
He's not gonna do it.
Yeah.
We'll find somebody will find it and post it on Instagram for sure. So
Hook's not even that big in AEW yet, so I mean he's paired with Samoa Joe again to try and get him over. So
oh jeez.
It's him, Samoa Joe, and Shibata, the new little friend group. So
Shibata, that reminds me of bread. I'm a little bit hungry now, but yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up and get to
I'm
the
sorry,
fridge,
Shibata, for what just occurred. You do great work. Forgive my ignorant friend over there who doesn't even know about Doc Hendricks either. So,
well, Ringside Heat, the podcast version over here on
Cut it,
Spotify and the rest of your favorite podcatchers, as well as YouTube. We're going to end the show right over there. But it's been great talking wrestling with Colin and with Chico, and great to have all of you that have tuned into the YouTube version, and as well downloading this to your respective phones and tablets and stuff like that. We'll be back next week to tee up for the rest of Elimination Chamber as the developments happen. As well, we're going to tee up the next AEW pay-per-view as well. And Colin is going to be, as we mentioned, hosting the Elimination Chamber live stream here on the Ringside Heat socials as well. I'll be joining him for the next day for AEW Revolution as well on March the 9th, the week after Elimination Chamber. So tune in for that. And just make sure that you are following us on all of our social media as we see below on the screen: YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, as well as Patreon at Ringside_Heat. My name is Lex Tan. Follow me, follow the show, and thank you so much for listening. Ringside Heat, we remember the things that you probably forgot.